We are live,
Hey
fellas.
guys, this is our first live with the boys podcasting. This is the fellas podcasting. Who we are is irrelevant. It's the message that we are reading together. We're different age groups, different times, and this is what it is. Time to get on the scriptures. We're reading the book, Jasher. We're picking up where we left off. We're at chapter 7, verse 1.
First live stream. Let's do
First
it.
live stream. Godwin, you can go. Godwin,
Good.
do it.
So in the chapter 7, and these are the names of the sons of Noah: Japheth, Ham, Shem, and children were born to them after the flood, for they had taken women before the flood. These are the sons of Japheth: Gomer, Magog, Madai, Yavon, Tubal, Meshach, and Thyrak, 7 sons. And the sons of Gomer were Ashkenaz, Rapath, and Togarmah. And the sons of Magog were Elisanaph and Lubal. And the children of Madai were Akan, Zielo, Chazani, and Lot. And the sons of Yavon were Elisha, Tarshish, Kittim, and Dodanim. And the sons of Tubal were Arifi, Kasad, and Ta'ari. And the sons of Meshach were Dedan, Zoran, and Jabal Nashni. And the sons of
The name, we doing good. Keep pushing, guys. Keep pushing. You about to do it, man. Go ahead, guys. Keep pushing, brother. You can do it.
And the sons of Thyrak were Beniv, Gara, and Luparayan, and Gilak. These are the sons of Japheth according to the families, and their numbers in those days were about 460 men. And these are the sons of Cam: Cush, Mizraim, Put, and Canaan, 4 sons. And the sons of Cush were Sheba, Shabala, Kafta, Ra'amah, Kaptaka. And the sons of Ra'amah were Sheba and Dedan. The sons of Mizraim were Ludim, Ananim, and Pathrusim, Kaklukim, and Kaftorim. And the sons of Put were Gabal, Hadan, Banah, and Adan. And the sons of Canaan were Zidon, Keth, Amori, Gargashi, Hivi, Arki, Sinai, Ardai, Samurai, and Kamthai. These are sons of Ham, according to their families, and their numbers in those days were about 730 men. And these are the sons of Shem: Elam, Ashashur, Aparkshad, Ludi, and Aram, 5 sons. And the sons of Elam were Shushan, Makul, and Harman. And the sons of Ashashur.
Hold on.
Keep it going.
I'm just checking sure we're still good.
Okay.
We're still good. I'm just making sure we're still
Come on,
good.
this is my first podcast.
These names are great. Listen,
Live stream,
keep pushing.
straight names.
Hey, I think our names are a little bit different.
They are slightly different.
Yeah.
Slightly different.
I read all this. That's why I'm laughing because
Well,
went through all this.
I've been through these names too, man. You gotta power through.
What chapter you on? What chapter 7
And this
verse?
ham just threw me off because I'm thinking of hot ham.
Chapter 7 verse
Verse 17.
17.
16.
and
And the sons of Asher were Myris, Mokil, and the sons of Aparkshad were Shalak, Anar, and Ashkol. And the sons of Ludi were Bethar and Bazion, and the sons of Aram were Utz, Kul, Gathar, and Mash. These are the sons of Shem, according to their families, and their numbers in those days were about 300 men. These are the generations of Shem. Shem begat Aparkshad, and Aparkshad begat Shalak, and Shalak begat Eber, and to Eber were born 2 children. The name of one was Peleg, for in his days the sons of men were divided. In the latter days the earth was divided. And the name of the second was Yoktan, meaning that in his day the lives of the sons of men were diminished and lessened. These are the sons of Yoktan: Almadad, Shalef, Hazm, Kazarmaveth, Yerik, Hadoram, Uzal, Dikla, Oval, Avimael, Sheba, Ophir, Havibalah, and Yobab. All these were the sons of Yoktan. And
What is going on, man?
Peleg is brother.
Yeah, I was locked in
Yeah.
until you said
Yoktan.
all these were the sons of Yoktan. Like I was so locked in, trying to imagine how they coming up with all these names.
Well, the reality is, this is a strong language. We're not. We're
No, that's what I'm saying.
We're used to
English
we're used
language
to, we're
is
used
not-
to this weakened down version of way we speak.
100%. I can't even
When
get
you-
on the same
hey,
jet stream.
Hey,
as all these
it's
names.
hard.
These are
That's
new.
why we need the Holy Spirit in us, because we're speaking the language that our souls is used to. Just our bodies aren't.
Yeah, it's
You know, it's
true.
the truth.
That's
This
true.
is real.
my body has to like
Yeah, I understand.
lighten up to what's going
That's
on
right.
here.
That's
Yeah.
right. Dive in there, Colin.
Yeah,
Dive.
verse 22.
Dive.
And Peleg his brother begat Ru, and Ru begat Serug, and Serug begat Nahor, and Nahor begat Terah. Terah was 38 years old, and he begat Haran and Nahor. And Cush, the son of Ham, the son of Noah, took a woman in those days in his old age, and she bore a son, and they called his name Nimrod, saying that at the time the sons of men began to rebel and transgress against Elohim. And the child grew up, and his father loved him exceedingly, for he was the son of his old age. And the garments of skin which Elohim made for Adam and his woman, when they went out of the garden, were given to Cush. For after the death of Adam and his woman, the garments were given to Hanak, the son of Yerid. And when Hanak was taken up to Elohim, he gave them to Methuselah, his son. And at the death of Methuselah, Noah took them and brought them to the ark, and they were with him until he went out of the ark. And in their going out, Ham stole those garments from Noah, his father, and he took them and hid them from his brothers. And when Ham begat his firstborn Cush, he gave the garments in secret, and they were with Cush many days. And Cush also concealed them for his sons and brothers. And when Cush had begat Nimrod, he gave those garments through his love for him. And Nimrod grew up, and when he was 20 years old, he put on those garments. And Nimrod became strong when he put on the garments, and Elohim gave him might and strength. And he was a mighty hunter in the earth. Yeah, he was a mighty hunter in the field, and he hunted the animals, and he built altars, and he offered upon them the animals before Yahweh. And Nimrod strengthened himself, and he rose up from amongst his brethren, and he fought the battles of his brethren against all their enemies round about. And Yahweh delivered all the enemies of his brethren in his hands. And Elohim prospered him from time to time in his battles, and he reigned upon earth. Therefore, it became current in those days, when a man ushered forth those that he had trained up for battle, he would say to them, like Elohim did to Nimrod, who was a mighty hunter in the earth, and he was succeeded in the battles that prevailed against his brethren, that he delivered them from the hands of their enemies. So may Elohim strengthen us and deliver us this day. And when Nimrod was 40 years old, at that time there was a war between his brethren and the children of Japheth, so that they were in the power of their enemies. And Nimrod went forth at that time, and he assembled all the sons of Cush and their families, about 460 men. And he hired also from some of his friends and acquaintances about 80 men, and he gave them their hire, and he went with them to battle. And when he was on the road, Nimrod strengthened the hearts of the people that went with him. And he said to them, do not fear, neither be alarmed, for all our enemies will be delivered into our hands, and you may do with them as you please. And all the men that were about 500 And they fought against their enemies, and they destroyed them and subdued them. And Nimrod placed standing officers over them in their respective places. And he took some of their children as security, and they were all servants to Nimrod and to his brethren. And Nimrod and all the people that were with him turned homeward. And when Nimrod had joyfully returned from battle, after having conquered his enemies, all his brethren, together with those who knew him before, assembled to make him king over them, and they placed a regal crown upon his head. And he set over his subjects and people, princes, judges, and rulers, as is the custom amongst kings. And he placed Tarak, the son of Nahor, the prince of his host, and he dignified him and elevated him above all his princes. And while he was reigning according to his heart's desire, after having conquered all his enemies around, he advised with his counselors to build a city for his palace, and they did so. And they found a large valley opposite to the east, and they built him a large, extensive city. And Nimrod called the name of the city that he built Shinar, for Yahweh had vehemently shaken his enemies and destroyed them. And Nimrod dwelt in Shinar, and he reigned securely, and he fought with his enemies, and he subdued them, and he prospered in all his battles, and his kingdom became very great. And all nations and tongues heard of his fame, and they gathered themselves to him, and they bowed down to earth, and they brought him offerings, and he became their master and king. And they all dwelt with him in the city of Shinar, and Nimrod reigned in the earth over all the sons of Noah, and they all were under his power and counsel. And all the earth was of one tongue and words of union. But Nimrod did not go in the ways of Yahweh. And he was more wicked than all the men that were before him from the days of the flood until those days. And he made gods of wood and stone, and he bowed down to them and rebelled against Yahweh, and taught all his subjects and the people of the earth his wicked ways. And Mardon, his son, was more wicked than his father. And everyone that heard the acts of Mardon, the son of Nimrod, would say concerning him, from the wicked goes forth wickedness. Therefore it became a proverb in the whole earth, saying, from the wicked goes forth wickedness. And it was current in the words of men from that time to this. And Tarak, the son of Nahor, prince of Nimrod's host, was in those days very great in the sight of the king and his subjects. And the king and princes loved him, and they elevated him very high. And Tarak took a woman, and her name was Anthelo, the daughter of Nebo. And the son of Tarak conceived and bore him a son in those days. Tarak was 70 years old when he begat him, and Tarak called the name of his son that was born to him Abram, because the king had raised him in those days and dignified him above all his princes that were with him.
Hey, that was great. Let's do a little quick recap if we could.
Okay.
While we're on this ending of Jasher, chapter 7, I noticed you don't hear a lot of the young ladies' names mentioned in the scriptures. You hear the men, but not too many ladies. But in this particular account, we got chapter 7 at verse 49, where they're talking about, what was the name of
Verse 50, Amphilo.
50, and Tear, what was it? And Tear took a wife, and her name was, what's this?
Amphilo.
Theolo, the daughter of cornbread. Right? Well,
Yeah.
But look, who was her child? Abram.
Yeah.
Mighty Abram's coming up in the scene, guys.
Mm-hmm.
And Nimrod, look, if we go back to Nimrod came out the hole, seemed like he was doing good. He had on them breeches, remember?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Remember them breeches he had on?
Yeah.
Now he came out the hole, it seemed like he was going to do good. He was born into this evil way because his pop stole them breeches
Stole them.
from his dad on the ark. So Ham stole the breeches, started this wickedness, passing down to his boy.
And then his boy passed it down to his boy.
Hey, and y'all heard the rest of the story, how wicked they were.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you choose a king above God. You're gonna be cutting that king's grass. Anybody want to talk about it anymore? Move on? Well, okay. I'm gonna read here chapter 8, guys.
Okay.
Jasher chapter 8, verse 1. And it was in the night that Abram was born, that all the servants of Terah and all the wise men of Nimrod and his conjurers came and ate and drank in the house of Terah, and they rejoiced with him on that night. And when all the men and the conjurers went out from the house of Terah, they lifted up their eyes toward heaven that night to look at the stars. And they saw, and behold, one very large star came from the east and ran in the heavens. And he swallowed up the four stars from the four sides of the heavens. And all the wise men of the king and his conjurers were astonished at that sight. And the sages understood this matter, and they knew its import. And they said to each other, this only betokens the child that has been born to Terah this night, who will grow up and be fruitful and multiply and possesses all the earth, he and his children forever. And he and his seed will slay great kings and inherit their lands. Oh, the wise men are like, oh, Lord, what are we going to do with this knowledge anyway? And the wise men and conjurers went home at night, and in the morning, all these wise men and conjurers rose up early and assembled in an appointed house. And they spoke and said to each other, behold, the night that we saw last night is hidden from the king. It has not been made known to him. And should this thing get known to the king in the later days, he will say to us, why have you concealed this matter from me? And then we shall suffer death. Therefore, now let us go and tell the king the sight which we saw, and the interpretation thereof, and we shall then remain clear. And they did so. They all went to the king and bowed down to him to the ground. They said, may the king live, may the king live. We heard that his son was born to Terah, the son of Nahor, the prince of thy host. And we yesterday came to his house, and we ate and drank and rejoiced with him that night. And when thy servants went out from the house of Terah to go to our respective homes to abide there for the night, we lifted up our eyes to heaven, and we saw a great star coming from the east. And the same star ran with great speed and swallowed up four great stars from the four sides of the heavens. And thy servants were astonished at that sight which we saw, and we were greatly terrified. And we made our judgment upon the sight, and knew by our wisdom the proper interpretation thereof, that this thing applies to the child that is born to Terah, who will grow up and multiply greatly and become powerful, and kill all the kings of the earth and inherit all their lands, he and his seed forever. And now, our Lord and King, behold, we have truly acquainted thee with what we had seen concerning this child. If it seemeth good to the king to give his father value for this child, we will slay him before he shall grow up and increase in the land, and his evil increase against us, that we and our children perish through his evil. And the king heard their words, and they seemed good in his sight. And he sent and called for Terah. And Terah came before the king. And the king said to Terah, I have been told that a son was yesterday born to thee. And after this matter we observed in the heavens at his birth. And now therefore give me the child, that we may slay him before his evil springs up against us. And I will give thee for his value thy house full of silver and gold. And Terah, am I pronouncing that right? Terah. And Terah answered the king and said to him, my lord and king, I have heard thy words, and thy servant shall do all that his king desireth. But my lord and king, I will tell thee what happened to me yesternight, that I may see what advice the king will give his servant. And then I will answer the king upon what he has just spoken. And the king said, speak. And Terah said to the king, Aon, son of Mold, came to me yesterday, saying, give unto me the great and beautiful horse that the king gave thee, and I will give thee silver and gold, and straw and provender for its value. And I said to him, wait till I see the king concerning thy words. And behold, whatever the king saith, I will do. And now, my lord and king, behold, I have made this thing known to thee, and the advice with my king will give unto his servants that I will follow. And the king heard the words of Terah, and his anger was kindled, and he considered him in the light a fool. And the king heard the words of Terah, and his anger was, back to chapter 23. And the king answered Terah, and he said to him, art thou so silly, ignorant, or deficient in understanding, to do this thing, to give thy beautiful horse for silver and gold, or even for straw and provender? Thou art so short of silver and gold that thou shouldst do this thing, because thou canst not obtain straw and provender to feed thy horse? And what is silver and gold to thee, or straw and provender, that thou shouldst give away that fine horse which I gave thee? Like with there is none to be on the whole earth. And the king left off speaking, and Terah answered the king, saying, like unto this, the king has spoken to his servant. I beseech thee, my lord and king, what is this which thou doest say unto me, saying, give thy son that we may slay him, and I will give thee silver and gold for value? What shall I do with silver and gold after the death of my son? Who shall inherit me? Surely thou art my death. The silver and gold will return to my king who gave it. Let me read that again. Surely then after my death, the silver and gold will return to my king who gave it.
Mine says surely then at my death.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, let me start at 26 all over again. I beseech thee, my lord, king, what is this that thou doest say unto me, saying, give thy son that we may slay him, and I will give thee silver and gold for his value? What shall I do with silver and gold after the death of my son? Who shall inherit me? Surely then at my death, the silver and gold will return to my king who gave it. And when the king heard the words of Terah and the parable which he brought concerning the king, it grieved him greatly, and he was vexed at this thing, and his anger burned within him. And Terah saw that the anger of the king was kindled against him, and he answered the king, saying, all that I have is in the king's power. Whatever the king desired to do with his servant, that let him do. Yea, even my son, he is in the king's power, without value in exchange, he and his two brothers that are older than he. And the king said to Terah, no, but I will purchase thy younger son for a price. And Terah answered the king, saying, I beseech thee, my lord and king, to let thy servant speak a word before thee, and let the king heareth word of his servant. And Terah said, let my king give me 3 days till I consider this matter within myself, and consult with my family concerning the words of the king. And he pressed the king greatly to agree to this. And the king hearkened to Terah, and he said so. And he did so. And he gave him 3 days' time. And Terah went out from the king's presence. And he came home to his family and spoke to them all the words of the king. And the people were greatly afraid. And it was in the 3rd day that the king sent to Terah, saying, send thy son for a price, as I spoke to thee. And shouldest thou not do this, I will send and slay all thou hast in thy house, so thou shalt not even have a dog remaining. And Terah hastened as the thing was urgent for the king. And he took a child from one of his servants, with which his handmaid had borne to him that day. And Terah brought the child to the king and received value for him. And the Lord was with Terah in this matter, that Nimrod might not cause Abram's death. And the king took the child from Terah, and with all his might dashed his head to the ground, for he thought it had been Abram. And this was concealed from him from that day, and it was forgotten by the king, as it was the will of providence not to suffer Abram's death. And Terah told Abram his son secretly, and Terah took Abram his son secretly, together with his mother and nurse, and he concealed them in a cave. And he brought them their provisions monthly. And the Lord was with Abram in the cave, and he grew up, and Abram was in the cave 10 years. And the king and his princes, soothsayers and sages, thought the king had killed Abram. Jeez. Chapter 9.
Chapter 9.
Just make sure we're still going.
Goodness
Going
gracious.
good.
Do we need to recap that or keep it going? Anybody? Do the live folks have any questions?
I don't know.
Oh, there's
Yeah,
no way
I
to
don't
tell,
know.
huh?
No, I mean,
Oh, you could too.
yeah, if I had the computer here.
Yeah, this is our first live. We don't have the technical
But
capabilities
I
to
got my
respond to
laptop,
any
I-
questions.
I mean, can go
I don't know
ahead
what to say, guys. I'm here for the reading and any questions. If I knew them, I'd answer them.
Right.
So, who's ready for 9? You wrong? Chapter 9.
Oh yeah. You want-
Dive in.
Well, let me read chapter 9. We're going in age order. Liz, do you want to read?
Yeah, okay.
All right, let Roman read. It's all go ahead, Roman. Chapter 9. Go ahead. That's what.
Alright. Chapter 9. In Haran, the son of Terah, Abram's oldest brother, took a wife in those days. Haran was 39 years old when he took her, and the wife of Haran conceived and bare a son, and he called his name Lot. And she conceived again and bare a daughter, and she called her name Milcah. And she again conceived and bare a daughter, and she called her name Sarai. Haran was 42 years old when he begot Sarai, which was in the 10th year of Abram. And in those days Abram and his mother and nurse went out from the cave, as the king and his subjects had forgotten the affair of Abram. And when Abram came out from the cave, he went to Noah and his son Shem, and he remained with them to learn the instruction of the Lord in his ways. And no man knew where Abram was, and Abram served Noah and Shem, his son, for a long time. And Abram was in Noah's house 39 years, and Abram knew the Lord from 3 years old, and he went in the ways of the Lord unto the day of his death, as Noah and his son Shem had taught him. And all the sons of the earth in those days greatly transgressed against the Lord, and they rebelled against him, and they served other gods, and they forgot the Lord who had created them and the earth, and the inhabitants of the earth made unto themselves at that time every man his god, gods of wood, stone, which could neither speak, hear, nor deliver, and the sons of men served them, and they became their gods. And the king and all his servants, Terah, with all his household, were then the first of those that served gods of wood and stone. And Terah had 12 gods of large size, made of wood, stone. After the 12 months of the year, he served each one monthly. And 1 month Terah would bring his meat offerings and drink offerings to his gods. Thus did Terah all the days, and all that generation were wicked in the sight of the Lord. They thus made every man his god, and they forsook the Lord who had created them. And there was not a man found in those days in the whole earth who knew the Lord, for they served each man his own God, except Noah and his household, and all those who were under his counsel knew the Lord in those days. And Abram the son of Terah was waxing great in those days in the house of Noah, and no man knew it, and the Lord was with him. And the Lord gave Abram an understanding heart, and he knew all the works of that generation were vain, and all their gods were vain, and were of no avail. And Abram saw the sun shining upon the earth, and Abram said unto himself, surely now this sun that shines upon the earth is God, and him will I serve. And Abram served the sun in that day, and he prayed to him. And when evening came, the sun set as usual. And Abram said within himself, surely this cannot be God. And Abram still continued to speak within himself, who is he who made the heavens and the earth, who created upon earth, who is he? And the night darkened over him, and he lifted up his eyes towards the west, north, south, and east. And he saw the sun had vanished from the earth, and the day became dark. And Abram saw the stars and the moon before him, and he said, surely this is the God who created the whole earth, as well as man. And behold, his servants are gods around him. And Abram served the moon, and prayed to it all night. And in the morning, when it was light and the sun shone upon the earth as usual, Abram saw all the things that the Lord God had made upon earth. And Abram said upon himself, surely these are not gods that made the earth and all of mankind, but these are the servants of God. And Abram remained in the house of Noah, and there knew the Lord and his ways, and he served the Lord all the days of his life. And all that generation forgot the Lord, and served other gods of wood and stone, and rebelled all their days. And the king Nimrod reigned securely, and all the earth was under his control, and all the earth was of one tongue and words of union. And all the princes of Nimrod and his great men took counsel together, Phut, Mitzrayim, Cush, and Canaan, with their families, and they said to each other, come, let us build ourselves a city, and in it a strong tower, and its top reaching heaven. And we will make ourselves famed, so that we will reign upon the whole world, in order that the evil of our enemies so that we may reign upon the whole world, in order that the evil of our enemies may cease from us, that we may reign mightily over them, and then we may not become scattered over the earth on account of their ways. And they all went before the king.
Read that back over.
Okay.
Start at 21.
And all the princes of Nimrod and his great men took counsel together, Phut, Mitzrayim, Cush, and Canaan, with their families, and they said to each other, come, let us build ourselves a city, and in it a strong tower, in its top reaching heaven. We will make ourselves famed, so that we may reign upon the whole world, in order that the evil of our enemies may cease from us, that we may reign mightily over them, and that we may not become scattered over the earth on account of their ways, of their wars.
Keep reading.
And they all went before the king, and they told the king these words. And the king agreed with them in this affair. He did so. And all the families assembled, consisting of about 600,000 men, and they went to seek an extensive piece of ground to build the city and the tower. And they sought in the whole earth, and they found none like one valley at the east of the land of Shinar, about 2 days' walk. And they journeyed there, and they dwelt there. And they began to make bricks and burn fires to build a city and tower, and they had imagined to complete. And the building of the tower was unto them a transgression and a sin. And they began to build it, and whilst they were building against the Lord of God of heaven, they imagined in their hearts to war against him and to ascend into heaven. And all the people of the families divided themselves in three parts. The first said, we will ascend into heaven and fight against him. The second said, we will ascend to heaven and place our own gods there and serve them. And the third part said, we will ascend to heaven and smite him with bows and spears. And God knew all of their works and all of their evil thoughts. And he saw the city and the tower which they were building. And when they were building, they built themselves a great city and a very high and strong tower. And on account of its height and mortar and bricks did not reach the builders in their ascent to it, until those who went up had completed a full year. And after that they reached to the builders and gave them the mortar and bricks. Thus was it done daily. And behold, these ascended and others descended the whole day. And if a brick should fall from their hands and get broken, they would all weep over it. And if a man fell and died, none of them would look at him. And the Lord knew their thoughts, and came to pass when they were building, they cast the arrows toward the heavens, and all the arrows fell upon filled with blood. And when they saw them, they said to each other, surely we have slain all those that are in heaven. For this was from the Lord in order to cause them to err, and in order to destroy them from off the face of the ground. And they built the tower and the city, and they did this thing daily until many more days and years were elapsed. And God said to the 70 angels who stood foremost before him, to those who were near to him, saying, come, let us ascend and confuse their tongues, that one man shall not understand the language of his neighbor. And they did so unto them. And from that day following, they forgot each man his neighbor's tongue, and they could not understand to speak in one tongue. And when the builder took from the hands of the neighbor lime or stone, which he did not order, the builder would cast it away and throw it upon his neighbor, that he would die. And they did so many days, and they killed many of them in this manner. And the Lord smote the 3 divisions that were there, and he punished them accordingly to their works and designs. Those who said, we will ascend to heaven and serve our gods, became like apes and elephants. And those who said, we will smite the heavens with arrows, the Lord killed them, one man through the hand of his neighbor. And the third division of those who said, we will ascend to heaven and fight against him, the Lord scattered them throughout the earth. And those who were left amongst them, when they knew and understood the evil which were coming upon them, they forsook the building, and they also became scattered upon the face of the whole earth. And they ceased building the city and tower. Therefore he called the place Babel, for there the Lord confounded the language of the whole earth. Behold, it was at the east of the land of Shinar. And as to the tower which the sons of men built, the earth opened its mouth and swallowed up 1/3 part thereof. And a fire also descended from heaven and burned another third. And the other third is left to this day, and it is of that part which was aloft, and its circumference is a 3-day walk. And many of the sons of men died in that tower, a people without number.
Goodness.
Yeah, I think that's good. We can do some recap.
Anybody want to recap?
I do want to recap a little bit.
Yeah.
This verse 29. This is something I've been got into my mind for a while. But the fact that they shot up arrows into the heavens, to the skies, empty, nothing on them, straight arrows, but they came back with blood on them. And they're like, yeah, we killed them. Yay. The whole time
It was a trick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God said, hey, I'm gonna put some color on this Joski and give me a reason to go down there and listen.
Smoke 'em.
Okay, y'all think you did this killing in your minds. You're guilty.
Right.
Even though I just pulled a move on you,
You didn't even know what I just
but I'm gonna come set fire to you.
Right.
The fact that he put blood on him, it's just wham, blood on him from where? Out of nowhere.
Those are the ones that he killed.
I don't know.
Isn't that the ones that, there was one of those regulars that were
That's
killed. Which ones did he kill?
If you go to chapter 35, in Jasher, he said, "We will smite the heavens with arrows." He said, "And the Lord smote the three divisions that were there, and he punished them according to their works and designs." So those who said, "We will ascend to heaven and serve our gods," they became like apes and elephants.
Mm-hmm.
Those who said, "We will smite the heaven with the arrows," the Lord killed them, one man through the hand of his neighbor. And then the third division, who said they will ascend to the heaven and fight against them, the Lord scattered them throughout the whole earth.
Yeah, he didn't. The ones that shot the arrows, he killed them by they was throwing the brick, not with the arrows.
Yeah, he said he killed them, one man through the hand of his neighbor.
Yeah, verse 33.
The arrows were just to let people think that they succeeded.
Yeah,
But the ones that shot the arrows were, there was 3 companies who had the different mindsets, right?
Yeah, the mindset of the ones who shot the arrows are the ones the Lord killed through the hand of
Are
his
those
neighbor.
the ones that fired the arrows and they became
Yes.
bloody?
That's what
right?
it said.
Mm,
And those are the ones that God allowed to be killed by their neighbors, right?
Right.
mm.
Okay, we're on the same page. Don't tempt the Lord, playing or not.
That's the truth.
Yeah, don't. It's basically you don't even have to kill nobody. Just don't
Think
even
of-
think of it.
Hey, your thoughts are really the only thing you have control over, and if you're still wicked in your mind, you're not changed. Really, because listen, you can stay home and not go out and create no problems for 5 years, but as long as you're doing these having these negative thoughts in your mind, you're not changed. You just been isolated, you pandemified yourself, quarantined yourself. But as soon as you get set loose, what that mind is thinking, the body does. Well, are we done, men, or do we keep it live?
Well, I'm trying to see the time.
It's
Thanks for joining us today. Podcasting is, you have no understanding what joy it brings me. I'm the older of the folks here. I'm the elder brother here. And it's really nice to meet young men this age that's in these scripts, especially in these times. I think today's the end of the world, right? According to what they're saying.
That's what they say, yeah.
You know, if you don't have these scriptures right here, the media can get you scared and afraid.
Yeah.
But as long as you read, you're ready. Now, I'm not saying there ain't something going down tonight, because it's possible. I haven't read about it though, but I've read things similar.
I mean, what happened last eclipse?
I don't know. I
Last
don't remember.
eclipse, nothing happened.
Yeah.
Last eclipse I remember, we was in high school.
Yeah, I got a video.
I'm pretty sure it's probably gonna be the same thing, man.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
Well, they said they
They
gonna
said this is
have.
different.
They did say they was gonna have like some military support. Though. I mean, what's up with that?
they say this is different. Only reason why they say this is different from what I've gathered from what people put out. They say the path of this eclipse crosses the path of another eclipse that happened, and the pathway that it makes a specific marking. X marks the spot in a specific state, which is named, or city, which is named after like biblical things. Like the paths crossed over cities that was called Nineveh, Jerusalem. I can't remember the other names, but it was like biblical names. And then this trajectory of this eclipse, the symbol that it makes 2 letters.
Oh.
And they say it makes the Hebrew letter Aleph and Tav, which is the beginning and the end, which is, interesting enough because, the beginning and the end is what the Messiah called himself, or what he spoke through the power of the Creator. I'm the first and the last, beginning and end. So, it's That's
that's what's going on?
perspective that people see. I don't say it's solid.
Yeah.
I take everything with a grain of salt, but it's very, very interesting how that comes into play.
Well, I've been in the store. I don't know what's going on.
Well, I can tell you this much. Man has aligned himself to interpret things his way and to cause action based off of what man believes. And based off of all the things that I see man doing, according to what I've seen man let me know about, they suppose the Jews are working up a time to sacrifice those red heifers.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if you know anything about if y'all been following the red heifer situation. Now, it'd be crazy if they use this eclipse as the trigger to start it. You know what I'm saying? All these conflicts are created by man, done by man, and brought to us by man. The only reason God hasn't destroyed this earth now is because there's a few holy people in it. I'm not saying we one of them, but we are in here reading the scriptures and trying our best to be holy and learn and fill ourselves with the knowledge so we can be holy. And if groups continue to do that, the evil thing that God has promised to do, he will repent.
That's true.
You know, and maybe that's why we're still here.
That's true.
You know, we survived the pandemic when a lot of people went down, and we were made, some of us were made to take that shot. Ooh, if you fell short and took it, Lord. If you fell short of the power of being able to resist it and took it, you made it. Because I took it too. I'm guilty. I hate it. I took it. I know everybody didn't take it. Who took it out there? Did y'all take the shot?
I didn't get the shot.
You didn't take it. How'd you resist?
I mean, I didn't have anyone pressure me. Well, the girl I was dating was pressuring me. I just ignored her.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I just ignored it.
I don't know. If you guys don't want to talk about it, y'all don't have to talk about it. I know Shaq didn't tell nobody if he took it or not.
Yeah. Nah, he was telling people to take it.
Hey, was
Make
he?
sure you get your shots.
Come on, Shaq.
You know, Shaq is a registered doctor. He has a PhD.
Dang, PD.
PD.
Pretty damn. What? Why did?
Yeah, man.
A lot of people were encouraged. Man, it was a lot of pressure on that shot.
It was. That was the most I've ever seen since I've been alive.
Yeah.
They ain't do that with the flu shot. They didn't do it with the tetanus shots. They don't do it with any other shots in the world. From my knowledge, in the world, when you with college school, like you don't have to go to school. You can get homeschool. You don't have to go to college. You can go homeschool. They said everybody got to get it.
God, everybody had to take
Worldwide.
They say you can get a tasty burger.
Come on, man.
She
What?
said,
A free burger? Come on, not an
I
incentive.
got a video.
I remember.
I
Yeah.
got
That was the
a
only
video.
commercial I remember.
recorded.
If you get this,
Tasty burger.
and you,
I screen recorded
French fries.
specifically.
Come on,
He
man.
said, he said, man, you gotta get you a hot fry.
yeah, and a tasty burger.
Come on,
He said,
man.
it tastes too good to pass up on this here burger. Just get you the vaccine and you gonna get you this hot burger.
Listen, this may seem funny and full of games, but did any of you guys out there experience pressure about the shot? And if you failed, but listen, we're still here.
Pull up our live stream, see if what it's. Oh, it's looking.
I got vaccinated. Get this. You delicious fry.
No way.
And there's also a burger element to this. Let me check with Bill Meetheart. Is it chicken? Just give me breakfast. Okay.
On the live
I want
stream.
you to look at this and think about,
Is anyone coming?
again, some
The only person watching this right now is me.
ways of life, but if this is appealing to you, just think of this when you think of vaccination.
Oh my
My
god.
goodness, this is crazy. Is that a real person?
This is real.
And that's the stuff I was looking at.
Really?
That's when I was
This is
like,
real. That's why I was like, what? I said, this is a catch. It has to be catch 22. They say, hey, if you get this burger and fries with the vaccine, if you get the vaccine, this fried combo meal.
You're gonna be happy.
All I'm saying is we're saying this as fun and games, but it wasn't funny when I was pressured to take it. I really felt violated, man. And the crazy part is, the pressure came most of all from inside my own house. I must admit, and it's caused me to change some things in my home. We delve into the scriptures deeper, and we're harder on it. We're harder about the word. Because if you falter these little small tests, they're gonna get a lot more difficult.
Yeah.
To resist mark of the beast, guys, I got to admit, it's gonna be hard.
Oh, yeah, you gotta be locked in.
It's gonna come at you hard, man. It's gonna come at you hard, and you better do some training now. Do some drills. Get your family ready.
That's true.
Ask them when they're ready to resist when they're questioned about allegiance given up. Ask them when they're ready. Test them.
Who's the God you serve?
Yeah.
Hey, serve this God or you die.
Yeah, plus it says if you do resist, when you get killed, you're not gonna feel it. It's gonna be fast, and swift.
This is a quick pop.
This is crazy. This is crazy talk, guys. It may seem like that. I can't believe we're having it. But look, if someone comes to you and say, "Hey, young man, we're the Chinese infiltrating the world. We're gonna take over."
Chinese.
Well, the reason I say the Chinese is because that's the country that our president's media is saying is trying to take over us.
Yeah.
Am I lying? I'm not talking about Chinese people.
Socially.
I'm talking about communist China.
That's what they said.
I mean, you can just say socially with just TikTok.
Well, hey, listen. According to the media that they showed me as an American,
Yeah.
they brainwashed me to believe that the war is coming from the communist government of China. I'm not talking about the individuals. Not Mr. Wang.
Yeah, he don't care.
He's cool. You know, Lee Howe, Mr. Wang, and all y'all. I'm with you. But the government, they're making the mass media saying they in America. They feeding, they giving us all the food. They're in charge of our food supply.
They've been really pushing it on the news lately.
Huh?
They have been pushing it on the news lately.
That has been put. So here's my point. When that comes to a head, if this narrative is the case, and they come with guns and military, they got into your yard. Look here. In order for you to save your head, brother, just make allegiance to our Communist Party. Turn your allegiance over to us, and you save your head, man.
Right now.
Right now.
You're good.
What are you gonna do?
Hey, I'm about to take
It's
the
just
blame.
easy. You gonna take the bayonet to the neck?
Take the blame. I'm about to do
Gotta make sure it's a quick pop.
it.
too.
Hey.
Pop.
Hey.
Make sure you
Don't miss.
Don't
Listen.
Please.
Go ahead and cut mine off too. Take my head off, because regardless if you say take it or leave
They
it,
gonna do
it's
it.
coming off
It's
anyway.
coming
Yeah.
off.
You're losing your head.
It's coming
The
off.
only difference
The
is
trick
you
is
lose
to
your
keep
head
choice.
and
Really?
quickly and go to paradise and cruise these out of see about them aliens and the other
Yeah,
universes.
multiverse.
Go to the multiverse, or
It's
save your
like-
head in your head and lose your head and wake up
Hell.
in hell where you can't
You
escape.
can't escape.
And you realize, oh man, I cannot escape. I'm in this forever. I can't repent. But I remember when I had the chance. Lord of mercy, what am I going to do? You can't do nothing.
can't. That's good.
It's too late.
Yeah, that's scary.
Save your head, people.
Protect your neck.
Her neck protected. Goodness gracious.
You guys ready to sign off?
Hey, that was a good time, guys. I appreciate you guys taking the time out to come down here on Eclipse podcast.
Oh yeah, the Eclipse Day podcast.
Monday.
Yeah, Eclipse
Don't forget the
Monday.
Eclipse.
Eclipse
3
Monday
o'clock.
podcast.
3 o'clock Eclipse. Enjoy it.
All right.
Thank you for joining in with the fellas.
Signing off.
Did we get anybody wanting to